What's going on YouTube? Today I'm here to do a review on the new District Cam Ward and Brandon James signature decks. So let's start off. I like these decks a lot. They're a lot wider than normal. They're 4.75 wide, and they give you a very wide base in the bottom as well. And that gives you, you get a lot of foot space on these things. The head tubes are pushed all the way to the front, so you get, a lot of foot space this way as well. And they're actually, for how big they are, they're fairly balanced. They're only, Cam's is a 4.75 by about 20.5. It's about 3.2 pounds. And the Brandon deck is a 4.75 by about 21.8. And it's about 3.3 pounds. So for the size deck you're getting, they're, very good weight on those, very balanced as well. Like I've ridden Cam Scooter a couple times in the past year or so when he was protecting his, line of parts, and it was very balanced, very nice feel to it. A couple things I like on this thing is they changed their head tube up. They have these nice fat rails going on the outside, around the cups, and then back down on top and bottom. And I feel like that it gives it kind of a cool, unique look. Cam's also has his nice graphics on his head tube, and they have of course they're forged now, so there's no more weld up top. And they have everything bored out but what they need, so it helps keep it light. And they just started welding these ones, of course on the top, but through the bottom as well, which helps add to the strength. Another thing I do like about them is instead of those plastic caps they've been doing here for a while, where it's open, the plastic breaks off and they dent in, they did, weld aluminum to basically to reinforce it and help stop it from collapsing, keep your fingers out of there, and help make sure your grinds are smooth. One thing I'm a little concerned with is they grinded the welds here around the outside edges, and of course the whole bottom where you'll be grinding is fine, but right here, we see like on the flavor decks where eventually you grind through those welds because they're already grinded down as it is, and the little plate will break off. I'm not sure if this is one whole plate that's bent across or three separate ones that are welded, but from what I can kind of see, it looks like they're separate plates. But I mean, we'll see how it lasts, because this is a very small compared to the flavor deck where it was a much bigger surface, so we should be okay here. And, they are integrated, which is normal pretty much nowadays. They also made their head tube smaller. Before, the integrated head tube was about a ½ inch bigger than it needed to be. Basically some forks, like shorter forks like the Phoenix forks or tilt forks, would be a little sketchy to use because you're only getting so much fork tube out of the top instead of the normal what you want. They shortened these the average size, so you're good to go on most of your forks now. You don't have to worry about not having enough fork tube to fit anymore. Another cool feature, they each have their own graphics under here. So Cam's got all of his black and white graphics, looks nice. And then Brandon went with a more simple on the top, so he didn't do any graphics on top, but he did go with a nice head tube cutout. And then he's got some really cool graphics on the bottom as well. Another cool thing they started doing, which I'm not sure I feel about yet, is they have this kind of nut that sinks into the back dropouts. Really cool, because all you need is one tool to tighten and loosen your deck. My only concern with it is, of course, it's got a nice notch cut out, so it fits on this side. The other side doesn't have a notch cut out, so if you're running a peg setup, it might be a little interesting to use. Now I know you could flip this around to the other side and tighten it in, kind of bend the dropouts in, or not the dropouts, but more this sidewall in a little bit, and it'll work like that. But I wish they would have made them both, an even size spacer. That way they can swap it around either way you need to. So that's my only concern there. Or some pegs might use a different thread bolt, and you might have an issue as well. So just a little bit of compatibility that you have to do a little working around to make it work right. But there's ways around it. Probably the perfect way, no. But I mean, this is their first run with this deck, and that'd be a really easy improvement for them on the next run. Same brake district's running for years. There's really been no issues with it. It's not an actual flex fender, which means, of course, it's not metal flexing. That does actually help it out though, because the flex fenders, after a while, from bending so much as your wheel wears down lower, they'll bend more and more, eventually snap. These use the simple rubber gasket style. There's a pin inside there, and this aluminum brake to kind of bend off of it. And it's got a very nice curve to it in the bottom of the brake, so your wheels, wear down round still. And there's always a couple tricks you could do to kind of put a sleeve around this little plastic guy here and make it sound very dialed. Other than that, I mean, they're great decks. I expect these things to last long. you know, especially because I've seen Cam riding his forever, and they started welding through the bottom also, and that's going to really help, you know, that's really going to help get rid of the leverage from snapping these things off. And one last cool little feature they have is they each have their own name, almost kind of engraved into the side of their decks. So Brandon's got his here in the back, and Cam has his here in the front. I think it's just a nice little detail to throw it off and really add to that signature flavor they wanted to have going on with their decks. You know, instead of just being a normal deck with a graphic, they really went the extra mile. You know, new head tubes, cool graphics, nice, you know, engraving here, and you know, cool, and you know, their own width and their own length. So it's really cool to see. I'm interested to see if they'll change these bolts out here in the dropouts, but other than that, great deck, and hell, they're only 120 bucks. So, I mean, and a deck for this size at that price, I think they're really gonna kill it. You know, sell a lot of these things. But go ahead and subscribe, comment below, and let me know what to review next. Make sure it's something we sell or from a brand that we can, you know, actually get our hands on it. And you know, share the video, do all that good stuff. Thanks, guys.